Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah.
Hey everyone, before we begin this week's episode of the Matthew and Rizzle Show, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Proof of Beauty. Proof of Beauty is an experimental digital experience studio. The blockchain is their canvas and the tokens are their brush. You can learn more about Proof of Beauty by checking out pob.studio. You can follow them on Twitter as well at PRRF Beauty. That's PRRF Beauty on Twitter and pob.studio on their homepage to learn more about their projects like Hash, London, and Publico. Thank you and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, this is Matthew, and Rizzle and I are back with another special interview. This week, our guest is Jiho, who is the co-founder and head of growth at Axie Infinity, the blockchain game that, in my opinion, has the strongest community out there in blockchain game land. Our episode was awesome. We had the chance to talk about the simplest way to actually play Axie Infinity, some of the amazing Axie community members and how they're powering this amazing game forward, the play to earn meme that Axie Infinity is really powering forward, and the superb partnerships that they've been making with Maker as well as Kyber Network. And we end the show on Jiho making a really, really amazing promise to any listeners of the Sen podcast who are interested in playing Axie. So make sure you listen to the end. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy our conversation with Jiho, the co-founder and head of growth at Axie Infinity. Okay, and we're live. This is Matthew, and I'm back with another special interview on the Sen podcast where Rizzle and I are speaking with the folks who are building the most fantastic projects in the crypto space. My guest today is someone I've been really, really eager to get on the show since I was able to meet him in New York City during the NFT NYC event. I'm super excited to speak with Jiho, who is the co-founder and head of growth over at Axie Infinity. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's definitely awesome to be on the show. Been a big fan of Sen since around 2018. So, really excited to be here.
OG Sen user. I love it. Cool. So to get started, I'll ask you the question that I ask everyone. Could you introduce yourself, give us a little background about who you are, where you're coming from, and tell us all about Axie Infinity?
Sure. So I'm Jiho, co-founder of Axie Infinity. I handle a lot of the growth-related things. I studied kind of things like military and economic history in college, went into the startup space, but got kind of disillusioned with Web 2.0. I felt like we were just kind of improving on existing paradigms rather than creating new markets, new industries. So I quit my job, started learning a little bit about Ethereum, smart contracts. Many of my really smart friends were interested in them at the time. But it wasn't until I learned about blockchain gaming and non-fungible tokens that I kind of jumped headfirst into the space. So I was an early CryptoKitty player, noticed that the community was really passionate. They were kind of driving the project in many cases, worked on an early dApp built on top of CryptoKitties called Kitty Hats with people like Dan from OpenSea. And decided that I wanted to dedicate my life to the space. So I met the co-founders of Axie Infinity kind of through that initial CryptoKitty community, and I've been kind of hopelessly addicted to growing the space since then. So for those that aren't familiar with Axie Infinity is a digital pet game on Ethereum. You can battle your pets, breed them, train them. We are partnered with MakerDAO, so we just ended a promotion where you're actually able to earn DAI by playing the game. We also have things like tokens that are, have some use cases within the game. The interesting thing is those tokens are actually have liquidity pools on Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange. So we're looking to really kind of pioneer this idea of play to earn, allowing gamers to actually monetize their time and effort and really reward them for helping to build these systems. I think gamers, just like content creators, create a lot of immense network value that Web 2 and I guess traditional games are not adequately compensating them for. So I think that's really a secret sauce that, platforms like Cent and Axie Infinity, this idea of being, rewarding users for their time and effort and helping to grow the platform. I think that's really the secret sauce or the slingshot that the Davids can kind of use to kind of topple the Goliaths of, the status quo.
I really like that, the slingshot that the Davids use. That's really poetic and beautiful. But before we go further, I'm really curious. I'm always more curious almost about the origin stories of these projects. And I know you had mentioned that you met your co-founders while you're working on Kitty Hats and when you're involved in CryptoKitties. Can you unpack that journey that you've been on since you met your co-founders into bringing Axie Infinity to life?
Definitely. So the guy who, kind of had the idea for Axie Infinity at the beginning. So the founder, his name is Trung, and he was also like someone in the CryptoKitty community, kind of saw the potential right off the bat. But he, had this desire for more gameplay, more utility, something more than just a pure collectible. The collectible aspect is awesome and really jives well with NFT ethos, but I think there was a lot of desires also among the early CryptoKitty community for more utility, more fun baked into these NFTs. So Trung, kind of latched onto this idea of a Pokemon and Tamagotchi or Neopet inspired universe, and he has a friend, a lifelong buddy, who is an amazing artist and used to build like Pokemon mods back in the day as a child, and so thought that he would be a perfect person to kind of help make this thing a reality. So I was actually an early community member of Axie Infinity when there was maybe three people working on the project, and instantly fell in love with the vision. I just started getting involved, contributing, kind of how these things go. And eventually, we had a very successful initial sale of the Origin Axies, which are kind of like the first edition Axies. And that was enough to kind of, bring me on board full time as one of the early co-founders. And so that's kind of this, I broke up with my girlfriend, gave my dog to my parents, and moved to Asia. And here I am.
Damn. Dude, that's some commitment right there. No, I feel like, when I was approaching it from an outsider's perspective, it initially struck me as, okay, it's another one of these breeding, training, arena fighting games. Sort of seen that kind of thing before. But upon playing it, I honestly feel like you guys have accomplished something that's very difficult, because I was fooling around with it and I was like, okay, you guys have done that style of thing very, very well. And I was initially found all the guides and everything that were coming out a little daunting. I was like, okay, this learning curve is going to be extra steep. But found it to be extremely playable right off the bat. So much so that my son came home from school. He's 7 years old, and I put it in front of him. And he's like just getting into Pokemon. So it's funny that you brought that up, but I saw the resemblance like right away to that. And he doesn't he's not old enough to quite grasp the intricacies of that game or this game in its entirety. But he was also able to pick it up and play it right away. So I'm like, to be able to cut across many age demographics in one game and have it be playable, because I know there are way more deeper levels to the game than we've initially got ourselves into. But that's that's something that's not very easy to do, in my opinion. Find something that has the ability to appeal to a wide age spread. So curious to know, like, what games were influences of Axie, or what were the ones? I mean, obviously, CryptoKitties has had a huge influence on everything in the space. But were there certain like games? And I know you said you studied economies. Like, what was the initial grassroots ideas that came together from other places?
Yeah, definitely. So I think games like Pokemon, obviously, Tamagotchi, we actually, we really see these as digital pets, and we'll be adding things like raising, and we think that that's going to bring in a whole new audience as well. Because I think there's a lot of nostalgia around Tamagotchi, but there hasn't been anything recently that's kind of been able to reactivate that. There's games like Slay the Spire. It's kind of like it's similar in that it has cards, or cards that kind of relate to abilities. There obviously we played Hearthstone as well. I think it's kind of a mashup of a lot of the games that really inspire people. And to be honest, I one of the things that I think is interesting about Axie is that it's quite amorphous, right? Like, we've built this initial alpha for the application, which involves an adventure PvE mode, but also PvP, and there's this card-based battle system. But we also have plans to add land gameplay, so things like inspired by things like Animal Crossing, Clash of Clans, Stardew Valley, and all of these things. I think the art and the cuteness of the characters and the community is really the core. And the experiences that we built on top of it, I think can cover a wide variety of genres to bring in different types of people. So I like to think of Axie as kind of an open protocol for internet monsters. We've also seen our community build a lot of different things on top of Axie as well. So I think that the strength is in the community and the IP, and how this can resonate with a wide range of people. Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up that your son was attracted to it. That's one thing that we've seen, is that this is a DApp that we've seen mothers of our players start to pick it up and play, like in between things like chores, and we've also seen children start to play as well, which I think is something that's quite rare, if not unprecedented, within the DApp ecosystem.
Dude, I heavily agree with that. The characters are ridiculously cute. Who designed them, or who's your graphic designer?
Yeah, so one of the founders is named Masamune. You can come in Axie Discord and see him hanging out. He's a genius. He's amazing, and I think he really brings life to this whole universe.
Yeah, my kid loved them instantly. He was like, "These things are so cool." Without it, just he's probably seen a million little cartoon characters at this point, but something about them grabbed a hold of him instantly. And like I said, that's not easy to do. And create a complex game on top of it. Sorry, Matthew. Man,
no, I just wanted to echo what you're talking about. The cuteness factor is definitely off the charts. I also wanted to flag again, reemphasize just the importance that I think community plays in what Axie is. I mean, my first association, even before I started playing Axie, was strong, robust, powerful community. Axie is really trying to power forward this play to earn meme, which I think is incredibly important. So I'm just wondering if you could unpack that play to earn meme. And then I know that we have adventure and arena mode right now, where players can earn the SLPs, which are tradable. And I think that is the route to profitability for some players. But I'm wondering if you could kind of open up or shed some light on the product roadmap in terms of how players can earn heading into the future.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things that we've seen recently was, the MakerDAO the MakerDAO team, gave us a bunch of DAI, to distribute. So we first did a big tournament where we had $3,000 in prizes, sponsored by the MakerDAO team. And then we also had a season, like a 2-week ladder, where we paid out DAI to the players at the top of the leaderboard. There was a random chance of DAI dropping to the winner of any arena battle over that 2-week period. We're actually about to make an announcement with a new token for season 2. So one of the things that I see is that rather than these kind of blind airdrops that kind of defined or were very prevalent during the ICO era, I think that very solid projects, many of them maybe in the DeFi space, will look towards these play-to-earn blockchain games as distribution channels and marketing mechanisms, ways to engage very solid, engaged users and kind of, bring them into their community. So, we have many different projects who are now saying, hey, like, the thing that you did with MakerDAO was awesome. Like, how do we do that as well? So I think, the traditional kind of advertising, the traditional free-to-play mobile monetization model is a lot about like, advertising and the advertising money going to the game developer. We find it interesting where, we get these tokens, we distribute them through our game, and that, drives the network effect of the ecosystem, also drives demand for the underlying assets. So yeah, that's one way that I see play to earn really playing out. We also see this, I think the core or the base earning mechanic for NFT ecosystems, which has been there since the beginning, is this idea of the collectible scarce asset, where if you are able to you get your hands on something that's rare, as the game grows, demand should theoretically increase. So that's also another model that allows kind of players to benefit off of Axie's success. There are players who got Mystic Axies at very at quite cheap prices, either during the sale or right when the market was released. And there's actually now a Mystic Axie index released by a project called Metalith, which shows that Mystic Axies have done quite well as a quote unquote, I guess, as an asset class. So we've also been very careful with, we were CryptoKitty players and, saw that the inflation rate really kind of like destroyed the floor or the cheapest kitty. And that kind of had a really bad effect on sentiment within the community. Basically, what we were really careful with was the inflation rate of Axies. So we've always the cheapest Axie has always been above the breeding cost, which is something that we're really proud of. So aside from earning the different tokens that we drop through our ecosystem and selling them or holding rare assets, you can also use your time and effort to breed your Axies and then sell the babies, and those babies have never fallen below the cost of production.
So, I mean, there's so many ways that users can earn, and I feel like that overall complexity is probably one of the reasons why there's so much literature and there's so many guides to Axies, which I think Rizzle mentioned and it struck me as a huge barrier before I actually played the game. It seemed like much harder to play before I actually engaged in arena mode on the Android app, right? So, like, for folks that still have not played Axie, what is the simplest way that folks can play to earn right now?
So I think just getting the 3 cheapest Axies on the market, or winning some in a giveaway. I think like the Scent community is really strong, and if they were to come to the Discord and say, hey, like, listen to the podcast, super interested, I'd be very, I'd think that, actually they might get a couple Axies for free from some of our community members. Besides, giveaways and things like that, I think just getting the 3 cheapest Axies on the market and going through adventure mode, earning some of those small love potions, which are actually tokenized, and you can sell them on Uniswap. I think that's a great way to start learning, getting your feet wet. In the future, we will add a free-to-play mode where, you're given 3 starter Axies, and, they'll have like limited earning ability, but that will also just, kind of get people to start interacting with the universe, fall in love with the community and art, and start learning the basics of the gameplay. So yeah, we're still in alpha. So, obviously, we want to be, introducing new people to Axie all the time and having, organic, sustainable growth. But right now we're actually very much in an alpha phase where we're testing out the apps, seeing what works with play to earn, seeing, what has the most attraction, what is the best messaging and communication, around what we're doing. So yeah, I think, all the indications so far and all the feedback has been really positive. And yeah, we are aware that there's a little bit of a learning curve, and we think that our roadmap adequately addresses that.
Your community is, I'll plug your community because that was the only reason I got involved. Xhuman gave me 3 Axies. I didn't even ask them for them, but sent them to me because he's just, knew that I was interested in, the various projects going on. Told me where to line them up and everything. So it gave me like a little, not even a guide, like 3 sentences on how to, load them up and line them up. And it was pretty straightforward, but that just speaks to like the generosity of your community and how willing they are to share information and onboard other people. Because he just, straight up sent me 3 Axies and taught me how to play, and then I was able to mess around with it and everything. Dude, I'm really, really fascinated with the play to earn concept. And I saw the post on Cent about the minimum wage in Venezuela versus, what you have the potential to make grinding it out on Axie. And I'm just very, very fascinated in this concept. Was that in the original roadmap, or did that sort of evolve? Like once things started picking up steam, did you suddenly realize that had the potential to be something, or was that the idea from jump?
We always thought that play to earn is a very powerful meme. I'm glad that I think you guys might be the first ones ever to call play to earn a meme, but it really is. I think every industry within the space or every subsector needs a compelling meme. And I do think that play to earn is what blockchain gaming will rally around. So we did suspect that it would be really powerful. But yeah, we definitely, when we launched the alpha, we saw that was what people really latched onto, and that's why they were sharing it. That's why they were talking about it. That's why they were excited. So yeah, we definitely like really doubled down on that narrative. That said, we did already have plans to do things like dropping DAI in the alpha. So yeah, I think like, it's kind of a bit of both. Like, it was a hypothesis that was kind of confirmed. And like I said before, there were people, our players were, earning by breeding Axies. But I think it's a little bit less abstract and a little bit more concrete when you're earning an ERC20 that has immediate liquidity on Uniswap, right? There's been a lot of research on how basically peer-to-peer transactions, it takes some time, right? Like you have to list it, you have to understand where to price it at, an NFT. Whereas, peer to contract, it's just like you go to Uniswap, you put in how many tokens you want to sell and you get your money, right? So I think that's a very, something that, kind of just blew people's mind that they could do that with a token that they earned by just playing a game.
Was Venezuela just an example just because of what's going on with their economy, or are you starting to feel like you guys are making inroads in certain areas of the world that may have a lower end of minimum wage?
Yeah, definitely. We see a lot of players from definitely places in South America like Venezuela, Southeast Asia. Indonesia is a big hotspot. I feel like there might be a lot of people from Indonesia on Scent as well. So yeah, like we're definitely seeing that. And I think a healthy ecosystem needs a broad coalition of users. A lot of our early users are actually like, crypto native whales, right? But in order to, bring the benefits of blockchain to everyday people, we need to, start expanding the buckets of people or the groups of people that become users. So that's kind of low income countries is kind of a newer user demographic for us.
Yeah, that's really cool. And well, the Indonesian user base on Scent, I guess, was started with a fellow named Bytelong, who just came back after a little hiatus taking care of his daughter. So they're definitely a very important part of the Scent community. They're very passionate and open to everything. And I feel like a game like Axie's is able to take folks that are from anywhere, as long as they have passion, as long as they have the energy to contribute, that they actually can earn from those contributions. Whereas I feel like other platforms out there, maybe in the Web2 space, they try to segregate certain populations from the other general user base. There may be actions that they exhibit that they are suppressed. But I feel like if you're able to design the incentive mechanism such that you're able to take that energy and use it for the general good to make use of it within the gameplay, I feel like it's so smart and it's brilliant. I really feel it's brilliant. But I know we talked a lot about the partnership that you had with Maker, and I think that you have a new partnership with Kyber that you had just struck. I'm just wondering if you want to dig into that partnership, and then if there's any other partnerships on your radar or any partners that you'd like to bring on board to work together with you and Axie. I think that'd be cool to dive into that now.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm really interested in the intersection of DeFi and blockchain games. I think at the beginning of the blockchain gaming space, there was a lot of like hype around this idea of blockchain games kind of collaborating together and making their items interoperable, things like that. I mean, that's really cool. I think the main place that we're seeing that really in an amazing way is with crypto voxels. It's amazing. There's so much art, so many art NFTs in there. Axie has a big presence in there. So that is definitely, an interesting approach. But I've always, I've been super interested in the intersection of gaming and DeFi, which I think are, two of the kind of most prominent use cases for blockchain and Ethereum right now. So we have this. We're very close with the Kyber team. Their founder is also Vietnamese. So basically Kyber Network is a decentralized liquidity aggregator. It also has a decentralized exchange. So similar to Uniswap in some ways, except that it pools liquidity from all the places of significant liquidity on Ethereum. It's, I think, the fastest growing DEX out there. And their token was actually just listed on Coinbase. They have a major traction. It's a major use case. We just launched a promotion with them where anyone with 50 KNC in their wallet can actually claim an Axie Kyber themed NFT. This is actually also how we started our relationship with MakerDAO. So this is just the first step in our kind of collaboration with them. So we'll have some more announcements related to that in the future.
That's cool. And then are there any other projects that you want to collaborate with? I know you're heavy in the DeFi space. Is there anyone that you want to throw out a feeler and be like, hey, reach out to us? Or is that something that you're working on behind the scenes?
I would say that, anyone who's interested in, connecting with the Axie community should definitely reach out to us. Just come into our Discord or DM me on Twitter. I want to do more stuff with Scent. I mean, I'm someone who, the idea of these formal partnerships is kind of a little bit too buttoned up for me. I think in some cases it does make sense. But yeah, I love collaborating across different projects in this space. If anyone has any ideas about, ways to work together, they should definitely reach out.
Yeah, can I peek inside your Ethereum wallet, man, and see what else you've been tinkering around with or playing around with? What else do you like in this space right now?
Let's see. I'm gonna go on my OpenSea account. I mean, so I'm an OG CryptoKitty player. I'm actually bred like the first dog cat, sold it for 38 Ether. Damn. So that was pretty cool. I really like Seb and the team at Sandbox. Super proud of my founder Avastar, number 124. Big fan of Jim and what he's been doing with that project. And I've known Jim for more than 2 years now, so longer than I've been working on Axie. He's a very, very passionate guy. He has his principles. Always has kind of interesting ideas. Sometimes they rub certain people, but I think I think that's awesome. I'm also like someone who likes stirring up controversy and seeing what people really think. I think that's awesome. I really like what My Crypto Heroes has done in Japan, kind of really super hyper engaging that community and getting to use user numbers that are super impressive for this nascent space. I love Crypto Voxels, love the community there. Wish I had more land. Should have picked up more after NFT NYC last year when I met Jin. I think that B Nolan is doing amazing stuff with the community. I think he's a great communicator. I think he has really good morals, and the community can really feed off that energy. I think that that's a project that's got a lot of momentum right now, which I'm a big fan of. I think those are also projects that kind of have good presence on Scent as well. There's some other projects that I'm pretty excited about. In terms of gaming though, we'll have to see. What the next year brings.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to more Axies on Scent. I feel like after the call, we'll probably have a little bit to talk about, probably strategizing on how to collaborate even further, because I feel like this first wave of Axie post, or not first wave, but new wave, has been really, really interesting and really promising. So, but before we go, just let the folks know where they can reach you, Jiho, and then if there's anything else you want to plug before we sign off, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, definitely. So my Scent username is at Jiho's, JIHOZ. Definitely keep an eye out for my posts there. I'm also on Twitter at Jiho's _Axie. Axie Discord is also a great place to get in touch with me. So what I would say also to everyone listening is to definitely come hang out in the Axie Discord, become part of the community. If you have any questions about getting onboarded, anyone who says that they're from Scent or listen to this podcast and wants to start playing Axie, just kind of mention this podcast, and I'll definitely put a team together for you.
Boom. That's awesome. And we'll definitely drop the Discord link in our show notes so that folks can find that, and we'll promote that promise all over Scent. So awesome, get ready.
Awesome. Okay. I may have bit off more than I could chew here, but while supplies last. So.
Nice caveat. Anyway, Jiho, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. Hopefully it's the first of many episodes that we have together as we get deeper and deeper into this play to earn space, which is super exciting. keep building what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. And likewise, you guys are doing awesome stuff and can't wait to see what the future holds for Cent.
Cool.
Awesome.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this week's episode. Just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Proof of Beauty. Proof of Beauty is an experimental digital experience studio. The blockchain is their canvas and the tokens are their brush. You can learn more about Proof of Beauty by checking out pob.studio. You can follow them on Twitter as well at PRRF Beauty. That's PRRF Beauty on Twitter and pob.studio on their homepage to learn more about their projects like Hash, London, and Publico. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.